What's up, everybody? Welcome to Smoking Weed and Talking Mixed Martial Arts. This is episode number 39. I'm Jarrod. I'm here with Paul.
What up?
We are coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. And on today's episode, we are going to be smoking some weed and talking all about the results of UFC 238, which saw 2 championship bouts at the headline. We're going to take a look ahead to Bellator 222 at Madison Square Garden. We're going to be talking about some weight division changes in the UFC, and we are going to take a look at the boxing scene as well. But to start things off this week, we have our Weed of the Week.
Smoke weed every day.
This episode, we are smoking on some super sour diesel and some cherry pie OG. And Paul just took a hit of this is the cherry pie?
Yeah.
Cherry pie OG, to be more specific, man. This is a strain that's kind of gaining in some popularity right now.
Yeah, I fuck with it.
Our other strain is an old school one, but let's talk about this. This is OG Kush crossed with cherry pie.
Cherry pie is one of my favorite
Yeah,
strains.
cherry pie is the shit. That's cherry pie is
OG Kush is also like, what the fuck?
yeah, that's like the backbone of West Coast genetics, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And cherry pie is delicious. That's a pure hybrid strain. Its parents are Granddaddy Purple, which is an indica, and Durban Poison, which is one of the few remaining pure sativa strains. I need to hit this real quick. So this cherry pie OG, oh yeah, hell yeah. Ooh. This cherry pie OG is packed with some flavor. It tends to lean a bit indica because it's got that OG Kush and that Granddaddy Purple in the genetics, but it does have a little bit of the sativa to balance things out. But the other strain we got today is old school. I'll talk about my diesel strains being favorites all the time. This is one of them. This is super sour diesel, which is let's move over to that one. I got that right here in this pipe.
Yep.
Yeah, that one hitter kind of went out quick. The super sour diesel is fuck yeah, here you go, dude. You can spark that up. It's, of course, New York Sour Diesel crossed with Super Silver Haze. So both a couple of powerhouse sativa strains coming together to fucking make one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it because that haze. Yeah, the haze kind of knocks that diesel flavor down a little bit. Like we were smoking that jet fuel a couple episodes ago, which is like
that's
pure gasoline.
way more tame.
Yeah, this has just got that almost aftertaste, a little bit of that flavor, whereas the jet fuel, the G6, both same strain, was like, you want a little drink of gas to go with your herb today, Paul? We did a little chaser of some gasoline with that one. Let me hit this here. I got a buddy in Colorado that grows some just killer fucking super sour diesel, man.
Yeah.
All legally, of course, out on some fucking property in the mountains. He's doing like hoop houses. So he's growing outdoors, but he's growing in an indoor
like a
indoor
greenhouse,
setup.
right?
Yeah, it's basically like a greenhouse.
Yeah.
But he grows this shit, dude. This is not as good as his, but it's pretty tasty. What do you like best out of these two we just smoked?
Both pretty fucking good. I don't know.
It's hard to complain about either, right?
Yeah.
It's the fucking benefits of living in the land of legal cannabis.
Honestly, dude, we're pretty fucking spoiled.
Absolutely. We hope you folks out there are smoking on some good weed right now, too. Everybody listening on WBUZ, you should spark those pipes up. And let's dive into UFC 238, this last weekend's UFC, man. Because let's just talk about your boy. Like everybody knows
Dude,
that they listen to this podcast.
Shit.
You're a major Henry Cejudo fan.
Yeah.
And we've had the pleasure of meeting him as well. And
dude,
remember when you saw him in the casino,
shit,
you were like,
yeah.
"Oh shit, Henry Cejudo!" That was cool. I was happy.
Dude, shit.
But damn, dude,
What a fucking turnaround.
He comes back and beats Marlon Moraes for the vacant 135-pound championship, in case anybody didn't hear that or see that that's listening. And he came back after some adversity, didn't he?
I can't believe he actually took some of the shots on the chin that he did, because Marlon's known for putting people's lights out. And I was
That dude's
like,
got power.
no, in that first round when it was like leg kick, leg kick, leg kick, and whenever Henry got close, those flurries happened. And a couple of those flurries, he got hit with big shots. And in the end of the second, they had a big flurry where it looked like when Marlon was hurt, he hit Henry with and hurt him too. Like, remember
Yeah,
right at the
yeah,
end of the round,
yeah.
they pulled them apart and Henry looked kind of wobbled.
Yeah, he did look a little wobbled. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just surprised. I mean, if I'm Marlon Moraes, though, holy shit, dude, where the fuck is your clinch game at, bro? He literally just grabbed him straight, tie clinch, double collar, and just dropping those knees on his fucking body and head, dude.
And Marlon looked like he had.
Marlon looked like he
was
had no idea
befuddled.
what he was doing. He's like, whoa, what is this crazy
Like it
technique?
was some new shit that
Yeah.
no one had ever pulled in a mixed martial arts bout that
For
he
real.
participated in training or in real life. I was blown away.
I hate to bring this up, but I know this injury a lot because from wrestling. But did you hear about the injury Henry went into the fight
With his ankle?
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you
I
see
did.
the picture of it?
Yeah. I didn't see the picture, no, but I did hear he had
Well,
an ankle injury,
here's the
which I
problem.
don't doubt.
So wrestling mats, the biggest problem with wrestling mats in general, like across the board, is they have to be taped together. Like they come in pieces, right? So they come in 3 big pieces.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe more pieces because he was in a hotel or whatever. But the problem is, if you're grappling and like moving around on those mats, naturally they're gonna move. They're gonna move a little bit when they're not taped together like properly.
Okay.
So come to find out, I guess one of them were not taped together properly, and he stepped in between 2 of them. So his
Oh,
foot
that's
was on the
legit,
ground
yeah.
between 2 mats, and he sprained his ankle. My brother actually did that, broke his ankle in college, and he said it was like the worst pain he's ever felt in his life. Like legit, that's the the problem is like, you know, when you're wrestling and going naturally, you're not looking down. You
Right,
know,
you're not
you're
looking
always
at your
keeping your
foot
head up.
placement.
So I'm guessing something similar to that happened, and he stepped in between, and someone maybe took a shot or something, and he tried to move and was stuck. But that's to put that performance on after getting hit with those leg kicks, after knowing that as well.
Yeah, his leg was getting
Holy
beat up. I mean,
shit.
he had to switch to southpaw almost immediately in the fight after the first round.
It was
During the
strange
first
though.
round.
It was strange though.
But-
It was like Henry tried to be technical in the first round, and Marlon was extremely technical in the first round and really just picked him apart. But as soon as like Henry made it a dogfight, it was like Marlon had never felt that before, which is strange to me.
Yeah, that was a big shift in that.
Strange.
That
It was very
to me, too.
strange because he's a veteran of championship fights. He's fought all over the world. He's fought some of the biggest names in the bantamweight division and pretty much put them all to bed. And as soon as I mean, this could have been a mental thing or something. I don't see how it would be because he's never had any mental like.
Yeah, he's never
lapses.
shown any lapse in that area.
But it seemed like as soon as that pressure was put on him, that he just wasn't ready for that. You know, like it seemed like maybe he didn't take Henry Cejudo as serious as he should have in a lot of aspects. I think
Definitely
that
not his clinch game.
well, no, I think he didn't take him seriously because I think he more or less like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard because we all know that, you know, he's a hard worker. But at the end of the day, I don't think he technically, like, you know what I mean?
Could
Like,
be right. He could be
because
right.
it just seemed like he didn't respect anything Henry was doing. And then when Henry started landing him, it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, he just had no answer.
None.
No answer. It was strange. Or
Cejudo
is
gets
it that
out
Henry's power gets better when he's not depleted? That also could be it. Because,
It could be a little bit of both,
Yeah.
honestly. Well, now we got Cejudo for temporary champ status, dual champ status,
yeah.
and we've got
Triple
him.
champ, dude. It's Triple C. Don't fucking disrespect him. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god! That's the thing. He's like, I respect Dick. You
He's
cannot
definitely
deny
cringeworthy.
his
He's
fight.
cringeworthy as fuck.
His
But
fighting
he's a
skills cannot be
fucking
denied, but his
assassin,
cringiness, I can't. I don't like him. Just 'cause he's so cringy and fucking fake.
The Triple C one though, I like that one. That's the only one I condone so far. Triple C is cool because you got to be something different. You know, Connor was champ, and then DC is double champ. You got to be something different. Not everybody's champ. Everyone makes their own mark as
So
like
you mean
the champ?
Henry
name.
Cejudo? He has a gold medal.
He does, yeah.
From what was it?
Triple C is
the
cool.
Olympics.
I like that.
Jesus, he can't. He's insufferable. He cannot talk. He cannot have a conversation with
And-
anyone without mentioning his gold medal. But I get it. You
yeah.
earned it. It's
He-
not. I mean, you
yeah.
earned it.
He
I don't-
definitely earned it.
It just
though.
doesn't mean I have to find him tolerable.
Oh
But
yeah,
he's a hell
no,
of a
he's
fighter, dude. You
cringeworthy.
can't
Don't
deny
get me
that.
wrong. He does some cringeworthy shit, but it's
That
almost like
cape and the magic hat bit routine. I was embarrassed. I'm still embarrassed. I don't even want to bring it up.
it was pretty weak, but
But
it doesn't matter.
doesn't
What
matter.
it matters
He's-
is what he does in the cage.
he gets it done,
He
man.
gets it done. It was
no
weird,
denying
man. He just finds a way. Like it seems like whenever he fought, like gets faced with like serious adversity, there's like something in his mind just fucking, it just flicks, and it's. I mean, maybe a lot of people say that. I mean, this could be legit. Don't give like this could be legit. They say when people have a near-death experience, that once they're faced with their mortality, that something in their brain clicks, and that possibly could have happened to Henry Cejudo. Because for people who don't know, was it 3 years ago now? 2 years ago now? He was in those crazy California wildfires, and his hotel lit on fire while he was sleeping, and he woke up in a cloud of smoke, couldn't see anything, and had to escape and jump from like a two-story window or something like that, and like burned his body actually pretty bad. Remember when he fought Benavidez? He had to wear he like had like you could still see like the scars on his feet from being
I
burned.
remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, after that though, it seems like everything after that happened has been positive in his career. And it seems like every time he's been faced with adversity since then, he's pushed through. So I
That's
mean,
solid.
although I
Good
mean, he's
theory.
also had situations like that earlier in his life where he's had that second gear, like obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he has a gold
Like,
medal from
yeah,
the
I was
Olympics,
gonna
in case
say,
you hadn't heard.
in the Olympics, that's really what he did, though. A lot of people don't know, but Henry Cejudo went from not making the world team to being an Olympic champion within a year. And then he went from getting knocked out by DJ in 47 seconds to beating the man 2 years later.
No, I talk shit mostly in fun,
Well, yeah,
he's a
and that's
cringy
what it
guy,
is.
but he's got mad skills,
Yeah.
man.
It's just he just does
how
cringeworthy
can-
shit.
How can you
I
deny his
understand,
mad
yeah.
skills?
And
But,
I think a lot of it has to do with his management team as well, because they do that with a lot of other fighters too. Like,
fucking
I mean,
Ali and them.
So
But
he's definitely.
I'll tell you
a
what,
champ.
though, in an area where he is biting off way more than he can chew, and he should just stop, is these talks about moving to 145.
Oh yeah, 45.
Like,
is too
are
much.
you-
He's not big enough for 45.
That's delusional. He's 5'3", 4. Ooh,
Yeah, but no, he has no, just no. Don't do that.
don't do that. You're good. You can obviously beat bantamweights. I mean,
Here's the problem, though. He's looking. Here's the thing. In multiple, you probably don't listen to Henry Cejudo interviews, but I do.
I have to mute him. I couldn't even watch him in the cage last
But
night.
he said
the promos
he said
last week.
he
No.
he did a pretty like candid interview about the rest of his career with Chael Sonnen, and he was saying that he only probably has like 3 or 4 left. That he wants to retire before he's 40, and that he doesn't necessarily see that he has that much more to prove. So that being said, maybe the big names, like honestly, if you think about it, all those names he said in the octagon last night really don't have any claim to the title as of right now. But what are they at the end of the day? They're all UFC legends, and they have a story behind them that will sell. Like, he says, I want to fight all the best at the Bantamweight division. He said Uriah Faber, Cody Garbrandt, and Dominic Cruz. Those 3 are legends in the division, but those three don't necessarily have a claim to the title right now.
No.
You know, like and
Like he
and
should be
people.
fighting Aljamain Sterling now.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think so as well.
Like,
But in this era of bullshit that happens, I could
probably
very well
won't be.
see Dominic Cruz and him fighting next. And honestly, I don't really mind because Dominic Cruz has always been like the unofficial champion of this division.
I would like
to his
see
last
Dom
fight.
get a fight in before that, but
But here's the thing: he could still get a fight in between that because Henry just fought twice inside or 3 times inside probably
Yeah, he was
9
real
months. He's pretty active. He's been pretty active. Like so I could see him after accomplishing all this shit, possibly taking the rest of the summer off, and then maybe in like November, maybe January, them fighting. So maybe you get Cruz back. I think Cruz said he's just rehabbing now, right? So let's say he gets cleared sometime soon. I would hope.
is he giving an update on plantar fasciitis on his feet?
Oh, he doesn't have that anymore. He's good now.
That's
Yeah, no, it's all his shoulder. It's the shoulder.
I know he
that
had
is-
the
yeah.
shoulder, but sometimes that comes back. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
if he had, not that he'd put it out there, probably if it had.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. So I could see him getting a warm up fight between now and then though, like maybe taking Jimmy Rivera or someone like that. Although that I wouldn't want to be Jimmy Rivera taking that fight. Can't lose 4 in a row.
No, that would be a terrible choice.
Yeah.
Of course, to play devil's advocate to my own suggestion, Dom has looked great without a warm-up fight every time he's come back.
That's true also.
I mean, he came back and destroyed
back and whooped
fucking
TJ.
Mizugaki. He came back and beat TJ. Like,
Yeah.
he
I
said
mean,
he
why not?
doesn't believe in ring rust. So
Yeah.
I
And
do.
you know what?
but he
I
knows
do.
more about him than fucking we do.
Yeah.
I mean, and all fighters are delusional, but I don't think that's a delusional statement. I mean, in their own powers, you know.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't mean like they're crazy. I'm just saying you have to believe you can do everything. But I think he might be correct that he doesn't suffer from ring rust. That could
Yeah.
be true.
And okay, so if you are Cody Garbrandt and you put 1 or 2 more together, you think he has any claim back to the title? Here's the thing, though. You got to think about it this way. He lost to a cheater, which he once took off.
Yeah,
his
but the
record.
reason that he lost had nothing to do with the cheating.
That's true, yeah.
The cheating didn't tell
Did
him
it,
to
though?
lose his temper and stick his chin up in the air and swing like a
Yeah.
wild man.
True.
I mean, dude, I like Cody. He's got good skills, but you know what he needs to do? He needs to go to like some emotional
He
training
is.
classes.
He's actually going. He's going to a
and I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm
mental
dead
coach. Like
serious.
I'm being
Yeah.
serious too. He literally is he said something about it that he's been working with Vinny Shorman that was working with Joe Rogan had him go.
Good.
Yeah.
Because that's what he
That he's
needs.
been
Like
yeah.
his mistakes boil down to like ego and not
It
controlling
is,
your
yeah.
emotions. Man.
It is because he has all the
Fuck.
skills. That's the thing. He was champion. And he had when he kept it together, and there wasn't a natural hate between the two.
Yeah.
Like in that Dominic Cruz fight, we saw his skills and what he has on his best night. But then we saw the ugliness of those 2 fights with T.J. Dillashaw of his own emotions.
Yeah, now,
because he
folks,
has all the tools as far as technique, power, and head movement to beat all these guys. He just
does.
doesn't have the temperament to do it.
And what we mean, folks, if you're not up on Cody Garbrandt, perhaps you haven't seen him fight. He's a former champ who does great until he gets angry, gets clocked, and then goes into like a rage mode where he loses skill. He starts brawling, and he's not tucking his chin, and he swings wildly in the pocket. He likes to stand in a pocket and just swing.
Yeah.
It's the fucking UFC. Like you
Can't
can't,
do that.
against the top fighters in the world. They're gonna fuck you up, man.
100%.
And that's every time that he's lost, that's what's happened is he gets mad, loses his cool, and stops fighting smart, stands in a pocket, swings like a wild man, and gets KO'd.
Yep.
It's a bummer.
Super
Dude's got
bummer.
mad skills. But,
Super bummer.
so that's what we mean when we say he needs to go to a mental coach. Like, you need
Yeah.
to fix that. That's a real problem at this
Yeah.
point. It's not like, oops. The first time was oops.
Yeah. now
Second
it's
time
like,
was
fuck.
like, oh, man.
Yeah, what are you
Now it's
doing?
like, dude, like, you got to
For-
fix this shit.
I asked you this yesterday after the fight, but how many title fights in a row has that fucking camp lost now? That's got to be 4 or 5. 'Cause you gotta
lost?
think, yeah, because you gotta think Frankie lost his title. Then he lost the rematch, or not rematch, but he lost to Aldo for the title again. Then Eddie Alvarez got stomped by Conor. And then now Marlon got worked. Oh, wait, no, because Eddie won one in between. I forgot.
Eddie did win one.
So they've lost two. No, never mind. I'm tripping. But all their guys have lost fights like that. Like, the way that Marlon lost last night was, like, very similar to how most of their fighters lose. They just look like, I don't know. They're, like, it's hard to say it. Like,
Well, let's
listen, like, think about it this way. Every one of their fighters does a good job until they face adversity, and then when they face adversity, they're like a deer in the headlights.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. I was just too high to get it out. But, like, so, like, think about it. When Frank Edgar fought Jose Aldo, deer in the headlights. Eddie Alvarez fought Conor McGregor, deer in the headlights. Last night, as soon as Marlon faced any adversity, deer in the headlights. I'm wondering how much sparring they're doing over
You've
there.
got a point there. Actually, the Frankie one, I'm willing to.
I'm willing to chalk it up to Aldo being great.
That's the only one
But
I
that's
can say
Aldo,
maybe
yeah.
that's not.
Because Eddie had
quite
all the skills
there,
to beat
but
Conor
Eddie,
McGregor.
like as soon as it's like he didn't think Conor's power was real, and then he was like, "Oh, fuck, it is," and then he didn't know what to do.
Exactly. Same thing last night.
Yeah,
And Marlon looked like he didn't believe Henry could hit hard enough to fight bantamweight, but as soon as he started hitting him, he was like, "What the fuck is
and then
this?"
he threw that tie clinch in, and
And it was
lost.
done.
He was lost.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what
He
to
almost
do.
got subbed too. Henry had him there. Imagine if he would have subbed Moraes. That would have been so crazy.
Yeah, he's a pretty.
That would have been nuts because Moraes is
a-
ridiculous on the ground.
Yeah, his jiu-jitsu is beyond reproach.
Ridiculous.
He just happens to have a lot of power in his hands.
Yeah, so he uses that. But yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm looking into it a little too much, but maybe they're not doing enough over there.
That's something to debate. That's for sure. Because
Yeah,
now it's
'cause
starting
it's
to be
just
a
like-
trend.
Yeah,
Like you said, that's enough.
it's
to
become a
start calling
trend with
someone
that.
a
I don't
trend.
know.
God damn, this weed is so dense, man. This bowl is just like I thought it was cashed, and I started like, oh no, it's still like green on the bottom.
So let's move along then.
Dude, how about my girl,
About yeah,
Shevchenko?
fucking bullet, putting that bullet right between
So she gets
Jessica.
the second round KO, not TKO.
Second round-
knockout via head kick.
Knockout via fucking swift death. Like, dude, Jessica I died last night. Like, for real, dude. She did not get up for like 5 minutes at least.
That was serious.
It was
man.
even. Remember, I showed you that
That was
video.
a
Like
serious
she
knockout
knocks
right
her
there.
out, and then the ref sees it, and he's like, "Oh fuck!"
He's like, holy shit. Like she went out, folks. If you haven't seen it,
Like clean out, like,
it was clean.
and then like starts twitching. And it was like,
Yeah.
"Oh fuck!"
She was out the second that shin hit her clean in the dome. Like
Well, here's-
Shevchenko had set up the kick, doing two massive fucking kicks to the body in the first round, and then attempting a few more, and then came out in the second round, and instead of going low, went high, and Jessica dropped her hand to block that low kick, and it was
Even
like she got killed, man.
even DC goes, "Yep, that happened to me. It's the same shit.
Yeah,
you
it
think
did.
they're hitting you in the body all day, and then as soon as you go to block that same body kick, you go high and you put them away."
Yeah, Jones did that shit to him. Shevchenko, man.
She's a fucking savage.
Have you ever seen video of her shooting, like guns?
Yeah, she's a savage.
Like she's a legit shooter.
She's a
Like, I
marksman.
was watching her on this course where she's like running around. It's like like an FBI
She's like
course
fucking
where
John
she's
Wick, dude.
diving behind shit. Yeah, she's a goddamn superhero. Like
Yeah.
she's going to be in Phase 4 of the Avengers as herself.
As herself.
She's I'm Bullet Shevchenko's joining the Avengers. Everybody's like, oh yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Like, she's a fucking superhero, man. She's a
then
bad,
fucking
bad,
Amanda
bad
Nunes is Thanos, dog. She's
Amanda-
still. I think they need to run that back a third time.
The Nunes fight.
Yeah,
And
fucking.
also think about look how big Nunes is.
I was saying, dude, did you see Amanda fucking last night, dude? She was fucking huge. huge.
And Shevchenko's a
She
natural.
looks like she was walking around like
flyweight.
170
Yeah.
at least, maybe more. She was
Shevchenko's
fucking,
much smaller than Nunes. Like,
she looked like fucking Dina Ansaroff was like dating The Rock with hair, dude.
yeah, man.
She was huge.
For real, she was
Like she's a huge like.
She's hoping
All
that
right,
next fight's at
I'm not even gonna
145.
say what I was gonna say.
She's hoping that next fight's at 145.
Fuck yeah. Well, she's fighting Holly pretty
God
soon here. So
damn.
where the fuck? What is she walking around at right now?
Is that fight at 35 or
Yeah,
45?
it's 35.
Is it really?
Yeah, what is she walking at right now?
Dude.
She's got to be walking around the 175, at least.
At least she's jacked.
Dude, she looked like the Aquaman dude. That's what she
Yeah,
looked like. That's
yeah,
who,
she did.
not as buff as The Rock, but just like the Aquaman
Some
dude.
Jason Momoa. Yeah, she's putting in some work.
Dude, she looks huge.
But yeah, I mean Shevchenko. I mean she lost a narrow split decision to Amanda Nunes.
She
after a
worked
5
Holly
round,
Holm though.
and she worked. She's. I mean,
Shevchenko's got some fucking names on the list.
Shevchenko is a beast.
She beat Joanna's ass. She beat Jessica Pena. She beat fucking Holly Holm. She's fought Amanda Nunes.
To a split decision loss that I mean some people in
A
the
lot of-
MMA media still
Wasn't
argue
the
that she
second one a
won.
majority draw?
The first one was.
I think it was the 5-round one.
Either way, she is like, and I mean, she is not a 135er. She's
No.
too she's a natural fly. Like flyweight is the class that
Yeah.
Shevchenko belongs in. She's not like
100%.
cutting crazy weight. That's her size.
Well, yeah.
She is a fucking animal. She is
You
so
know what?
fucking vicious. She's a killer. She's one of the best fighters in the world.
Oh yeah.
Not in the women's MMA.
Fuck
like
that, dude.
Like just in
She-
MMA. Like that woman is right up
she's a fucking killer. She's a killer.
there. It's amazing. We've got Amanda Nunes and Shevchenko right there, that are like, both of them are, like, they've gone out of that bubble of like, oh, they're the best among the women.
Yeah.
Like Ronda was like the best. She's the best among the women.
Yeah.
These are top-notch martial artists. It doesn't
Oh, yeah.
matter.
For sure.
Like against any standard you want to apply them against, they are fucking top-notch.
They're
Shevchenko
savages.
last night, I was genuinely worried for Jessica Ai.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
when you hit like that,
She got her
head
ass.
hitting the canvas.
Yeah.
And laying there twitching for like 5 fucking minutes. Rogan's like, she's not moving.
It's like,
Like,
yeah, she's. That's what they kept saying. They're like
she's not
kept talking
moving.
about Bullet. She'd be like, yeah, she's still out. Well, Bullet had a great fight tonight. Well, you know, she's just starting to open her eyes, but she's still not moving. But what a fight!
It was a long time.
It's like, oh shit, man.
And you know, Jessica Ai is 10-1 at flyweight. Like that's her natural weight class too. Like she didn't
Yeah.
really have much business being up at bantamweight. And a lot of people talk shit because, like, she didn't have the greatest run at bantamweight.
Yeah, I
but
think
she
she
had a
was,
great
like,
run at
1 and
flyweight. She was a
3 or
flyweight
something.
in other organizations. She came
Yeah,
in.
she was the champion.
Yeah.
Remember, they were talking about earlier in her career that, like, she wanted to spearhead the 125 division in the
Yeah.
UFC,
And it makes
and
sense.
and like that the division was like necessarily like hers to take.
Yeah, she's not some canned fighter because she
Before
has some losses.
before
in the
Shevchenko
bantamweight
decided to
division.
go to 25, because remember Shevchenko at first was at 35 while there was still a 25 division, and had I not already been in the UFC and she had been still an Invicta or something, she probably would have been brought in for that first Ultimate Fighter. So she possibly could have been in a situation where that division could have been hers, is basically what I'm saying, before
Right.
Shevchenko showed up.
Yeah, she is a
because-
legit fighter.
Yeah, she's legit.
And man,
That's what's scary, is like she's legit and she did that to her, and I could probably beat everybody else in that division.
Shevchenko is going to be a terror for a minute.
Yeah.
A long minute.
Unless somebody from outside of the UFC comes along.
The UFC should make it a priority to sign some serious flyweights.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that division.
Oh, yeah.
And they should make a move. I don't know when Bellator's flyweight champion, her contract is up, but when it is, they should really make a serious move on her because that'd be a hell of a fight.
Who, Alima McFarlane?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that'd be a great fight.
Oh, yeah. That is the fight to make in MMA right
That's fucking.
now. I mean,
She's gonna who? She's probably gonna fight.
Caitlin
Chookagian?
Although she didn't look great either.
I thought Joanna. Let's talk about that fight right now, since it's ties in with what we're talking about. I mean,
I
she
thought
fought
she
Joanna Calderwood, and I thought Calderwood won as well. I was shocked when they fucking read that off.
Just look at the stats and look at Caitlin's face.
I didn't understand
Like,
that call.
there were some good leg kicks on both sides, but I don't understand how Calderwood takes her down 3 times, busts her up pretty bad. You know what happened is however the fuck you say her name, she was just more active, and Calderwood was just hitting her with the bigger shots, which is stupid though for the judges to give it to her. Like that 30-27, where
30?
the fuck
What
did
on
you
earth
see
are they
that?
talking about?
Yeah, crazy.
Absolutely. I don't think JoJo loses.
Twitter
much
had a
shine
good time
that.
with that one.
Did they? I didn't check, but I'm not
Talking about
surprised.
throw the fucking judge out.
That was.
Yeah, I don't think she lost much.
But she's probably
luster
the next
there.
contender now, though. Caitlyn is.
Oh yeah,
You know, that's going to be. And
She's
I'm
the
sorry,
next
you're going to be the
victim.
next victim. Yeah. No disrespect to her.
no
She's a
disrespect,
talented
but you're
fighter,
fucked.
As everybody likes to say, there's levels to this game.
Oh yeah, there's
And
levels.
Shevchenko is on that rarefied
She's on-
level
yeah.
where we've got like
Fuck.
Jones and Cormier, and you used to say Connor, but perhaps not anymore.
Yeah,
But
Henry Cejudo.
Henry
is up there.
Cejudo now is definitely in that rarefied air of fucking
Yeah.
elite.
You know what he
skills.
said last night? I hate to go back to this, but you know
Oh
what
no,
he said?
I don't know what he said last night.
He goes-
100%. I have
He
no
said
idea.
that he thinks
Something braggadocious.
He thinks that because he has the double belts and he's because you know how the UFC pound for pound rankings are going. Every time someone wins a double belt, the next Monday they're number 1.
Right.
So if Henry Cejudo's number 1 on Monday, he said he thinks that's going to force the hand for Jones and DC to fight, so one of them can become the real pound for pound GOAT and the best fighter in the UFC. I kind of like that. I like that idea in his head, but it's probably not. But I like that idea. Like, yeah, make those motherfuckers fight.
That would see. He is thinking that Jones.
He's
and
trying to
DC
push. I think he's
care
trying to push.
as much about pound for pound as he does,
Yeah,
but he's a
that's
little egomaniac.
Yeah, he does like he's all over the pound for pound shit.
And but I don't think that John Jones cares.
It's
about
a small man's complex
media.
almost, dude.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that. I just didn't want to shit on the guy because he's coming off a championship and sound like I'm. But yeah, he's got a little bit of little man syndrome going on, dude. He does.
Well, and you know what he does? He does, but
I mean,
for the right reasons. Because now the UFC is kind of looking at people his size and saying, "You guys aren't interesting to watch. We'd rather do away with you."
no, he has every right to in that regard. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking it. I think he's one of the best fighters in the fucking world, no matter how big he is. I don't think that plays into anything.
See, that's the problem.
But
The
let's-
Dana White and the
some
UFC
people-
are very notorious for only going with what makes the most money. And I think that's a problem when you're talking about a major sporting organization. If you're going to call yourself a sport and you're going to say that this is all about competition and the fighters and finding out who's the best in the world, then you need to have all the divisions. Is really what it comes down to, because you can sit there and say you have the best fighters in the world, but then you have someone like Cyborg or someone like Holly Holm or all these different girls who are, or guys also, guys like Demetrius Johnson now, guys out there like Ben Askren before, people that are out there who are fighting in other organizations because you don't have what they need to be successful. And so now you're seeing people go out there and still being as famous as they were before. If you really want to be the major sporting organization, if you really want to be the NFL of MMA, you would have every single weight class, and it wouldn't be about what makes the most money. It would be about who's the best. Because the NFL, at the end, NBA, everything, at the end of the day, is all about who's the best. Yeah, the numbers and the money behind the scenes is something that's important, but they're not what pushes the hand. You're not going to see the fucking... Although everyone would love to see LeBron James in the playoffs this year, you're not going to see him in the playoffs because his team didn't do good enough. And
Yeah,
he's
they're
not
not
in
just
the
gonna
playoffs
put him in there
because
'cause it makes the most money.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what's wrong with the UFC right now. It's
Well,
all
gonna
about
stay that
money.
because the Fertitas are gone, and Fertitas were about the sport thing.
Yeah.
You notice they don't say that as much anymore about this is where the best fight the best.
Yeah.
Dana utters it every once in a while, but it's not like that was the thing for a
Yeah.
while. That was like
That's the problem.
It ain't the
Is
fucking
everyone
thing no more.
everyone in the That's why there needs to be a
But-
union. That's why all this shit all ties into being a legitimate organization. There's steps to it. Everyone just acts like, oh, we're on
I
ESPN
know.
now. Everything's going to fall into line. No, you're not right.
Gonna
Like,
fall into line. I'm sorry. I love all these guys. You know, no one loves fighters more than us. We're a fucking fan podcast.
yeah.
It was like, y'all blew it. They missed the fucking boat on
They've
the fucking
missed them.
union.
Yeah.
They missed the boat in 2 stages. There was 2 stages to the boat leaving. Number one was when the fucking shit sold,
Yeah.
and for $4.2 billion, and the fighters saw nothing.
Yeah.
And then the second was when they signed with ESPN.
Yep.
And then these pay-per-views now are the direct result of that. That's it. Because, we're talking about Cejudo and the marketability, right? And they,
Yep.
they want to go with the stars. And can he save the flyweight division? Well, guess what? Guess what we were talking about last week that plays a factor into that? We already know. The pay-per-view sucked.
Yeah.
The numbers, I mean.
Yeah.
The event was great. It didn't sell
Yeah.
for shit, bro.
Yeah.
They probably sold 100,000.
Yeah.
So how do they measure now? Is Cejudo a star? Because that's not
Yeah.
accurate.
Unless
That's the paywall.
unless this pay-per-view did like crazy better numbers than the other two.
Yeah, if
which,
it's up there like 150, which
Yeah.
that's crazy
It
numbers
will-
now with this
if
ESPN
it's
Plus
up,
deal.
yeah, if it's up to what his normal numbers are before he was on ESPN Plus, then okay, that makes sense. And okay, yeah, Henry Cejudo's a big draw, do all that shit, but I don't think, like I just said, the fucking idea of a draw is dumb. Like, it shouldn't be about who's the
dumb,
draw.
yeah.
It shouldn't be about all these flyweights. That's why, like, that breaks down, like, honestly, like, he does cringeworthy shit and yeah, all that shit, but he has a reason he has to do all that shit because now it's not about it, whether it's good lines, good
he's
headlines
trying.
or bad headlines, he's in the headlines always now because he's always doing something, whether it's cringeworthy or not, because that's what the UFC has made these fighters do now almost. How many guys now are just talking shit that have never talked shit before? This last fight, Pedro Munoz, have you ever heard Pedro Munoz talk shit about someone? Out of nowhere, he hates fucking or whatever.
I know he's calling.
He's calling Aljo all bunch of
bitch.
names, calling him a bitch and shit.
Which is
Like,
not
what?
It's tame, but I mean for
Yeah.
him that's like wait
For what? Like, come on,
Did
dude.
what?
Yeah. So like, even going back, like George St. Pierre, they tried to make him talk shit. Like, it's
Some wolf tickets.
everyone wants to swear it's a fuck
Wolf
up and
tickets.
down that like we're a sport, we're legitimized now, we're on ESPN. Then fucking run your organization like a sport and stop running it like a fucking cash grab.
They're not going to do it, and there's not going to be a union because unfortunately all that shit passed by. But that's just the reality of the situation now.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to go on that little rant.
Dude,
there.
that's all right, man. Let it out. Let it out. But we had another fight on there. I mean, I think circling back around, we're going to see Shevchenko versus Caitlin Chukugian. And Shevchenko's likely going to win that fight. And
And the next one, and the fucking next one.
then in the, like, almost the co-main event spot, we had Tony Ferguson versus Cowboy Cerrone,
Kind of a strange ending to that one.
which ended second round, doctor stoppage.
Fucking Tony killed
Tony
it.
won. Cowboy's eye was like the worst eye I've ever seen.
It was pretty bad.
Like he didn't really have an eye anymore. There was like this big puffy thing with a slit in
Here's
it.
the problem here. Here's the thing. Before he blew his nose, it was that bad as well. But when he blew his nose, it just puffed out. It was already swollen up, but when he fucking blew his nose, it puffed out.
Yeah, he blew his nose in between the round while waiting for the bell.
Like,
to
he
ring,
could
and it
barely see
really,
out of
like-
that eye.
Yeah, and like he knew it was fucked up. Like right when that happened, he grabbed the eye immediately. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no.
He literally goes, oh no, that's literally
Yeah,
what he said.
that's I know. It was yeah, that was a bit of a bummer
Yeah.
because he really wanted to go out. And
Broke
fight.
his orbital, they said last night.
That's what they said.
So-
Schilling is saying he's got a broken nose.
Maybe he has both.
Schilling is also saying the punch after the bell broke his nose.
I don't think that's true. I think it was broken before that. Cowboy took how many fucking jabs in that round straight to that nose? You can't tell me that
Dude, that
that
first
one shot.
Was good. The second round.
The second
Tony
round,
opened
he
it
literally.
up,
How
man.
many of those straights and jabs did he take to that nose, though?
Tony
Literally,
fucks
Tony
people
was just
up.
hitting him in that nose.
Yeah. His nose was jacked. His face was fucked up.
Yep, he was fucked. But that's what Tony does to everybody.
Yeah.
That's why no one wants to fight Tony. That's why the champions don't want to fight Tony. Because Tony doesn't beat you. He makes you have to quit because he's beat you up so bad. He's not going to knock you out with one punch. He's going to wear you out, drag you into the deep water, and he's going to put you in a situation where either you cannot continue or you don't want to continue.
Yeah, 100%. And now he's going to be, I mean, how do you deny him the winner of Poirier versus Khabib? I guess you do that because of Conor McGregor. But
I was going to say.
Jesus, I don't want to see that nonsense. And Dana White's like keeping it alive this week. He's out there
Dana White's
saying
like campaigning for it almost.
yeah, he's like, well, sure, I could see Conor fighting Khabib next. And then saying,
And then they ask him, like,
"You're gonna
is
wait till
Tony next?
after?"
And then he's like, is Tony next? Well, we'll have to see what happens. Like, what?
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That's stupid. You need to give Tony Ferguson versus,
Tony Ferguson has his due, man. He deserves it.
fucking 100%.
I mean, yeah, that was pretty late after the bell. I'm not going to lie. Didn't really like it myself either.
No,
But-
he did hit. I mean, after the first bell, he hit.
But I
It's
do
a good
not
3
believe
seconds,
he
but-
deserved to get disqualified for it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. So, but that kind of sorts out lightweight, except for the whole Conor situation. But
And why the fuck was that ref standing so far away? In a fight that's that active, once you hear the sticks, you better get pretty close.
yeah, he was pretty far
You
away.
can't be standing that far away. He was at least 4 or 5 steps away when that happened.
Yeah. Goodness, my throat.
Obviously, I hate to blame it on that guy, but he is part of the problem as well.
I
Like,
can't disagree with that.
you know what I
He's a
mean?
bit out of position for sure. You want to talk about other fights off this card? Or you want to
fuck
end it out
yeah.
with that?
Aljo.
Aljo
Aljo
Sterling versus
fucking
Pedro
good,
Munez, number 1
dude.
contender, basically for the 135-pound new champ. And damn, did Sterling look good in the
Look
win.
great. Use that length so well.
Kid
Holy
looks like
shit.
he's turned the corner.
For real. His elbows are nasty. That elbow he kept throwing, like stomped forward elbow, like that was intense.
Yeah, he was throwing all kinds of elbows, up elbows.
Those hooks he was throwing were sick, though. He was like, they were like looping, but they were still fast.
Yeah, and they were hitting. They were
He's
landing.
boom, 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 boom. Pedro Munoz has got a fucking chin on him, man.
Yeah, he does. I don't know how he took all those. He took a lot of blows.
Took a lot of blows. Did he get dropped once? I don't think so. And I think the only drop in the fight was a leg kick, and it was. I don't really count that as a knockdown, to be honest. I know it's a knockdown on the cards, but leg kick knockdowns, I like. I don't know. You know what I mean? They kind of just sweep. A kick sweeps you off your feet sometimes, anyway. So
Right.
it's like, yeah. Like, you see how far Henry's fucking legs were flying back when Marlon was kicking him in the legs? So it's like,
Yeah, he was like doing a 180.
yeah, dude. Same thing with Pedro, though. He was hitting
He
Aljo
was
with some
knocking him out
nasty
of
ones.
fucking orthodox into southpaw. with a
Pedro
kick.
really fucked up, though, because he was hitting him with those early, and then later in the fight, he kind of shied away from it for some reason when they were working a lot.
Maybe his legs were hurting.
Yeah, maybe his own. Yeah,
Yeah, could be.
that's true. But, man, was that a good fight.
It was. I think Sterling cemented himself.
Sterling's got a fucking chin on him, too. He took some big shots.
Mm-hmm.
That last encounter was pretty funny. He's like, fuck you! Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Well, you
See,
know-
like, that's what I think makes Aljo more of a title contender, too, because he does shit like that. Like, people want to see stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of.
He's
potential
got
to,
he's got a lot of
break out.
he's got a lot of like he's got a lot of fucking like personality that I think hasn't been shown because he's been stuck on the undercard for so long for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He
Even
has
his
a lot of
number
potential
one
to break
contender
out,
fight
yeah.
is on the undercard. Like, god damn, man, he give that man some kind of main event.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least a
Showcase.
fucking fight on a main card. Jeez. Fight on all these Fox Sports cards and all these fucking undercards for pay-per-views. Like, you never see him on pay-per-view. It's strange. He's a fucking top-level fighter. He's evolved, don't get me wrong. He started pretty fresh and like
Yeah, he
raw
was young
early
and
in his
raw.
fight. But he is like he's really began to put it all together. Because he's another one of those guys who has good wrestling, and he's not scared to stand on the feet too, as we saw
No,
last night.
not at all. And he's got chops on the feet for sure.
He's fucking legit. I would like to see him fight Henry also.
Yeah,
I
well,
think that'd be a
is
tough
the
fight
that
for
should
Henry,
happen,
man,
but we'll
because
see.
his size. I think Aljo's so long.
Aljo's a lot bigger.
He's
He's a
long.
big dude.
Henry has a very similar body style to Pedro Munoz. Maybe a little bit shorter, but not much. Pedro Munoz is a very small bantamweight also.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd like to see that fight next, honestly.
Yeah, me
Probably
too,
won't
for
happen
sure.
next because it looks like Henry's probably got a few injuries. Probably going to take some time off. Maybe get Aljo and Marlon a rematch. Think that'd be a good fight for him if he doesn't get the title shot, obviously. Obviously, the title shot's what is ideal, but I'm saying if if something happens, that the UFC is going to go where the money is, so they're probably going to give it to Cruz.
Probably. Well, let's stick
Or
with
maybe Uriah Faber.
let's stick with Aljamain Sterling's camp for a minute, but shift out of UFC 238. Chris Weidman and him fight out of the
Made
same
an
camp. And we had a
announcement,
major
yeah.
announcement that kind of broke during the event that he's
Yep.
going to be fighting at 205 now.
yeah.
Thinks he has what it takes to ultimately
Yeah,
get
he
to
said
John
he's-
Jones.
Said he's the one to beat John Jones.
So,
And if I don't know how long a lot of our listeners have been watching MMA, but this is a kind of an MMA dream match from back in the day. There was a UFC like supercard they were planning on doing back in the day with like Jose Aldo and Anthony Pettis and
yeah, a bunch of champ
and
versus
Dillish,
champ fights.
not Dillashaw, but Cruz and Barao, and then it was going to be John Jones and Weidman. That was always the talk. Was like Weidman after he beat Silva. No one really cared to see Weidman fight a lot of the contenders because Silva had dominated that division for so long everyone was like so fucking in awe of what he did to Silva
Yeah,
that
there was a lot of talk.
there was a
about
lot
that
of aura
Jones
around
fight.
him that there was that Jones fight. But since then, Weidman's definitely trended down. Jones has gone to a whole nother level of greatness, and he's had his problems. But I don't know if that's the same fight today it was back then.
Me neither. Depends on if the extra 20 pounds that he doesn't have to cut or that he can add on and then,
Here's my problem,
does
though.
it reinvigorate him?
Here's the problem: is he also did say that 185 is not out of the picture. So is he
that's
gonna
not good.
is he gonna put that extra 20 pounds on or not?
Yeah, you can't. That's a big jump. That's not
Because here's the
typical
thing: if you're gonna
10-pound
fight
jump.
205, you want to walk around day to day at like 220.
Fuck yeah.
He's probably walking around 207.
I don't like him saying
210.
that about not closing the door on 85. That's too big of a. It's not one of the typical 10 pounds. It's double. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You got to commit.
Don't get me wrong,
some
Weidman's a
size.
big guy, but he's
6'2".
He's got a wrestler's body though. Like, he's not very long. He's kind of just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like he's all torso and legs, dude. You know what I mean? He doesn't have very long arms, and I think if he were to fight Jones would have a very solid reach advantage. I don't know exact numbers, but I'd imagine he's got a pretty solid reach advantage against him. And that's
Virtually
dangerous
guaranteed.
against Jones. Jones is like literally built to beat wrestlers. If you look at his career, he's built to beat wrestlers because he's got great wrestling and he's got long limbs. And if you can't take him down,
absolutely.
you're fucked. Like,
Well, I like what this adds to the division.
yeah.
I
I'd
don't.
like to see that Rockhold fight ran back, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that opens up the Rockhold fight again at this new weight class, and it makes some intriguing matchups with some of these younger fighters. Possibly, I don't think that he's gonna beat Jones just because. Well, that's just not gonna happen unless there's some crazy fucking fluke. But I like the move. I like what it does for the division, and I'm excited. I would definitely tune in to Weidman versus anybody on that shit.
At 205, one of those younger guys as well, Johnny Walker got cleared to train again this Thursday.
Excellent
last
news
Thursday.
as well.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get him back soon as well. maybe against a Corey Anderson or something like that. Something
That'd be
with
a
some
good
kind of
fight,
title
yeah.
implications.
I'd like that. It'd be a step up for him. Thing is Corey going to want to
Take
fight
that
one of
risk.
these,
I don't know.
fight one of these young bucks on the come up?
Because Corey also already thinks
he's
that
put-
he's earned his title
right.
shot. I can't really deny him though, because he has put together some great wins. But
But as a fan, yeah, I like that.
As a
That'd be
fan,
good
I'd like
fight.
to see it,
Fuck yeah,
yeah.
let's do that for sure.
because you know what is strange at 205 is now you take Gus out of the picture and you take Manoa out of the picture. A lot of the higher level guys are coming off losses. Like Ozdemir's coming off losses. Anthony Smith came off a loss to Jones. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the top guys haven't put very many together, and Corey Anderson has. So who knows? He could be next.
He could be.
I'll tell you what though, they gave Santos a pretty quick title shot coming off 85. Holy shit! He fought what twice, three
Twice,
times at
you
205.
believe? He's gonna get murked.
I think he's just gonna get wrestled and fucking beat up on the bottom. He's gonna. I think John Jones is gonna do exactly what Gegard Mousasi did to him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's gonna lure him into like a false sense of hope and then put him out. Remember, Gegard fucked him up.
Yeah, I did.
He was smaller then, though. I like how him, although, like I was saying, he's only been there a little time. Him and Anthony Smith have done very well in filling out for 205.
Yeah, for the size. Yeah, they've done it right with the size. It certainly seems. Yeah, they don't look small.
Because Santos was always like jacked, but he was more like super lean and jacked. Now he's like fucking huge.
Yeah, he's a big.
He's
dude.
fucking juiced up now. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying he's on juice, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's fucking way bigger than he was before.
Well, you want to talk about that Bellator 222 coming up?
Yeah,
next
we got
weekend?
the fucking best Bellator
Shifting
card
up
ever put together.
What's coming?
up.
Yeah. That's at Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden. A little
For
bit of
second
shift
time.
order change though came up this last week.
Yeah, because there's a couple championship fights, and then there's like a marquee fight, one of Bellator's classic big names from the UFC fights, and it's,
Yeah.
it's Chael Sonnen versus Lyoto Machida, which they said was the headliner for a minute, right? But now they changed
Yeah,
it
now
to
they made it to Roy McDonald, Neiman Gracie. I think a lot of that had to do
the
with
welterweight title.
a lot of people thought Rory was gonna drop out of the fight. Like there was that
Could've
like
been. That's a good point.
there was that like
Point.
there was that narrative out there that Rory wasn't gonna fight. Remember, like the last
yeah.
few weeks, like some people on Twitter and like some managers that have pretty big names and stuff were out there saying Rory was not gonna fight this weekend. That it was gonna be John Fitch.
Well, I'm glad it's not, but everybody's going to be watching Rory's state of mind. That's for sure.
For sure, for sure.
That's the big.
'Cause this
question.
is a young buck who's hungry for a title chance, and I think if Roy is not careful, he could get upset here real quick. I honestly don't think it's a big of upset if Gracie beats him. Actually,
What are the odds on Gracie? Do you know if they're good? I might have to place a fucking bet on that fight. Honestly, if he's like minus 200 or something.
yeah,
I mean, Rory, and then if what's
Yeah,
his
plus.
name's plus anything over plus 150 would be fucking killer.
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. I don't know.
But I'd imagine Rory's probably the betting favorite.
He's got to be right because
He's a champion.
he's so yeah. And Gracie's
Neiman
pretty-
Gracie has a chance of being the champion of the world this weekend, and then after that, becoming the tournament
Dude,
champion.
when's the last time a Gracie was a champ in a major organization?
1996.
Yeah, that'll be quite a feat.
Oh, in a major organization, I don't know. I just know the UFC. There wasn't a win since '96.
Yeah, well, outside of the UFC, I mean, what other major orgs are there really?
Pride.
Bellator and Pride, and was
What's his name? Was Pride champ? Hickson.
yeah. How long ago was that though? That's been a minute.
I think that was like early 2000 or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it was a long time ago. Don't get me wrong. But I think the two Gracies that are at the top of both fucking Bellator and UFC right now could be champions very soon.
I think so too. They seem to be legit. And the other one being Kron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Crone.
Crone.
How do you say his name?
Crone?
Crone?
Yeah.
I always want to say Crone, but that's just like
Yeah.
it's weird. So I say Kron, and then I'm like, dude, you said it wrong, you high bastard.
He's a fucking savage.
Dude,
And he trains with Nick Diaz and
Yeah.
Nate Diaz. Which
And-
are fucking savages too.
Yes.
I heard Gracie's trying to get a spot on that 241 card with Nate.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the odds on this fight. I'm having a hard time
The
getting.
UFC has put together a few good. They've got some good cards coming up.
Oh wow, Gracie's plus 154, and McDonald's minus 138 right now.
It's
I'm-
not really worth it.
With the plus, well, the Gracie is worth a bet for me, 150%. If you don't know fight odds in Vegas, how that works, folks, is if McDonald's minus 138, so that means you would need to bet $138 to win 100, whereas Gracie's plus 154, so that means you need to bet 100 to win 154. So it's like 154% on your money,
Yeah.
whereas you got to risk like 138% the other way. So.
Yeah.
So that this is like that 154 doesn't count your 100 bets. So you bet 100, you're getting back 254.
Dude, I almost put money on Andy Ruiz and I didn't.
Because I tell you, I like, dude, really?
I know.
I like Gracie in that fight. I don't think Rory's got it anymore, and I don't think he's going to have it until he shows us in the cage that he's got it. And I don't mean that as any disrespect.
And if he does, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm going to bet this fight. Not right
You know what I
now.
mean? I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there and wins and looks great. But I just need to see where he's at.
He has all the skills to go on and win. But
yeah. Because
I
if
think
you
that's
watch
good
that
odds.
Fitch
I
fight,
like that shit.
he just kind of skilled his way out of there. You know, he just made it look like, good enough to where he'd get the win and he didn't have to take that many risks.
Right.
You know?
Well, shit, it's time for a new bowl. This bowl is no good. But, dude, there's a lot of other good fights. So we've talked about that. Let's discuss the Chael Sonnen versus Lyoto Machida fight, because that's basically a number one contender for the light heavyweight belt that is currently held by the dual champ over in Bellator, which is Ryan Bader, their heavyweight and light heavyweight champ.
Who's defending both? That's
Yeah,
fucking
they're
cool.
allowing him to defend. UFC gets these dual champs as well, but they don't allow anybody to defend. They're always stripping one. Always. There's only been 4, but they've stripped the 3 prior, and we're expecting Cejudo's going to get stripped of something as well.
Or they're just going to
At some
go
point.
away with the
Or
division.
fold the division in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes sense. He's the champ of both. It's the best
But
time
then he
to
wouldn't be
possibly do it.
stripped too. That's all. It's all semantics, He wouldn't be stripped then.
Oh,
His
he'd
division.
remind us about it in every conversation.
Right? He'd be like, "I was the only double champ who was never stripped of his title.
Yep.
They took my division.
And I won a gold medal in the
They
2008
took
Olympics.
it away.
The fucker's going to be 97
Uncle
years
Dana
old.
took my shit away."
Like, I'm Henry Cejudo. I'm a 2008 Olympic gold medalist. To people he already knows. Like dude, I've known you for 52 years. You don't have to tell me. But all right, let's talk about Sonnen Machida, dude. It's number one contender spot. Machida, Chael Sonnen. Chael coming off a loss at heavyweight. I don't really hold that against him. He's fucking around with Fedor at heavyweight.
I don't really count any loss in Chael's career now against him because he's like fucking 40 and still doing it. I feel it. I don't really give a fuck if he loses this fight. I don't give a fuck if he loses all the next fights. If he wants to keep fighting. Because
go ahead, Chael.
the way he
Keep
fights,
this in
he's not really taking much damage.
No, he's not getting knocked around. He's not getting knocked.
I mean,
silly.
he get fucked up. He got fucked up by Fedor, but
Yeah, that's because he's flirting at heavyweight where you
Yeah.
can get jacked up by
yeah.
people. But Machida versus him, I don't even know
I think
who
he's
I
gonna
like.
definitely need to wrestle Machida.
Yeah.
I think he could pull out a decision.
I wouldn't be surprised Chael gets the win by decision. Wouldn't be surprised if Machida manages
To
some sort
KO him. If
some sort of
Machida
KO.
wins, he's gonna KO him.
I like the fight though. It's still in the vein of the, what were they calling them? The tent pole fucking events where they would do these big names.
Yeah.
They don't do it nearly as often, much to their credit.
Yeah.
But they're still pulling these guys out. But they're not really over the hill that much.
No.
If they were in the UFC, maybe we could be saying, I don't really want to see this
Chael
fight,
just doesn't want to be in the UFC because of USADA.
but, yeah, I buy that.
Well, not that only, but I'm saying, remember he had all those USADA problems and he retired and then he asked for his release and then all that.
Yeah.
Like, he really could be fighting in the UFC.
It's weird because he commentates for UFC on shit.
Yeah.
He fights in
Through
Bellator.
ESPN, yeah.
He's got
But, dude,
that's juicy gigs.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If it was the other way around, I don't think he would be allowed to report on Bellator if he was a UFC employee. So
No, I don't think so either.
I think it really just goes down to Scott Coker being a cool guy as far as everything else. You know what I mean? He's just he's cool about
He's the anti-fucking
yeah,
UFC, man.
yeah, he's a
And he
fucking
seems
cool
to
guy.
fucking do it. He
Yeah.
seems to enjoy that role. Well, we got
I don't know if it was ever true, but that little rumor that was going around that Chael was at the fight with Anderson, where he was at the fight in Australia, and that Scott Coker told him if the UFC wanted him to fill in and fight Anderson, that he would
that he
grant
would
his
have allowed
release.
it. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Chael
But-
is not really one to bullshit on things
Yeah.
like that, I don't think. But who
Yeah.
knows? A lot of people would debate me on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I find Chael to be a fairly straight up guy, but
Yeah.
whatever. People think he's a liar too, so who knows?
Old Chael just says outlandish shit sometimes.
Speaking of people who say outlandish shit, let's keep it going here.
Yeah,
with Dylan
Dylan
Dennis
Dennis,
also
second
fighting
fight.
on this card against what's the
Max
dude's
Humphrey.
name? Max Humphrey.
Yeah.
Max Humphrey has got more experience than Dylan Dennis does in MMA.
Here's the
I don't
thing,
know much
people
about him,
you
other
got.
than
Here's the thing, people got to understand is Dylan Dennis was a great jiu-jitsu player, but he was never a fighter.
Yeah, he's
This
1-0
is
in
his-
mixed martial arts.
Well, here's
yeah.
the thing, he didn't get an amateur career, which is dumb. I think he should have fought some amateur fights.
Yes.
That would have been smart. But I don't think anybody would take a fight with him is the problem.
Probably
So,
not. If you don't know, folks, Dylan Dennis is one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world.
yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. He's still evolving. I would hope he wins this fight. But if he loses, I don't think it's that big of a deal either.
No, it's actually not.
But
it'd
it's
be
in
a
his
big deal to
hometown, and he's
ego,
really
but
not going to want to lose.
He should not. He should just stick with what he knows. To give another example of an excellent jiu-jitsu player transitioning well into MMA, look at Gary Tonin over.
Yeah, Gary Tonin, I think he's won the title.
No, he's 5-0. He hasn't won a title over there yet, but he's getting
No,
close.
I think last weekend he was fighting for the title.
That could be, but either way, he's had great success over there.
Oh yeah, he
he's-
uses his jiu-jitsu so well with
Yeah.
his MMA game, and he's actually got some striking.
Yeah, his striking's evolved quite a bit, and Dennis needs to stick with the matchmaking like that.
Yeah, take a page
Build
out
up
of
some
his book.
names.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
stick with what he knows, and then work
Bellator's
that
bringing him
striking
along the right way. It seems.
Yeah, like we were talking, Coker knows what he's doing. So.
Yeah, he's.
But I'm
fucking killing
interested in seeing him fight. I expect him to win. I'm interested in seeing him fight.
it. Yeah.
How about the rematch between Darren Caldwell and Horiguchi?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a fucking.
And Caldwell
scrap,
goes over
dude.
to, what was it, Risen?
Yeah.
To fight Horiguchi for their title.
Mm-hmm.
Loses. Part of the clause is that they rematch in Bellator. So now we've got the Risen champ coming over to Bellator and MSG to fight
Yup.
the still reigning, despite the loss, still reigning Bellator champ. Because that was just for the Risen title.
Yeah.
Right? Right. And the Risen title's not up for grabs, just the Bellator title, right?
Yep,
There we
dude.
go.
Horiguchi just takes over the division. That'd be intense,
That'd be intense.
dude. Then you can throw him in that fucking tournament too.
That'd be sick if they did that.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize it. Bellator has 2 double champs. There's Tricio is double champ now too.
That's right, he is. Pitbull
You
is
think he's
double
gonna
champ.
enter that tournament still as a double champ?
Don't know.
I don't think he will.
Sometimes you want to protect that brand.
Yeah.
Can't blame him for that shit if he does either. But that's interesting.
I think he makes more money with a rematch in Chandler than going into that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be cool.
Yeah, I'd be excited about
Because
that.
that's the extended tournament too, right? It's a 16 man.
16-man tourney. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And they said that they're gonna line all the fights up this time. The card's gonna be like all the way down, all the fights.
Yep.
All the way down, all the fights.
See, this Bellator
All the
just
way
improving on their model.
Yeah.
They're fucking.
I think they said the fights will be
adapt.
every 4 months or something like
Yeah, a
that.
little bit more streamlined. 'Cause that's the
Yeah.
only complaints about these the heavyweight tournament and then this welterweight
Just took
one.
so long.
Took so long.
And this one's gonna take longer, obviously, but
Yeah, more
there'll
fighters,
be more
but-
clarity and there'll be more excitement around it because the tournament fights won't be sprinkled around like 16 different cards, where
Right.
they'll be all on the same card, but it'll just take longer. But you'll still build excitement for those cards, you know.
Oh, that's cool. I'm fucking stoked on that, dude.
Yeah.
As MMA fans, listeners, you should
Speaking
be
of
paying
somebody
attention
who
to
was
this fucking tournament.
possibly going to be in that tournament, Aaron Pico is making his return to the Bellator cage, and
Good.
this after he just made his recent change to Jackson Wink MMA.
Smart
Think he has
move on
enough
his part.
time to show anything?
We're about to see how well he listens.
Yeah,
This fight should answer some questions about not his future necessarily
does he have
long
Jackson in
term,
his corner?
but see if he listens to some game planning because that's what we can expect out of any Jackson
Well, and that's
Wink.
what I was gonna say. That's what Greg Jackson's known for, is having the fucking best game plan to get the job
and
done.
it seems Pico's problem has been a little bit on the game planning side.
Absolutely.
You know, he's not wrestling, he's going with his hands. And well, now he's been slapped twice with that strategy, and
Yeah.
you can't keep that up at his young career point. Talk about a guy with skills. I mean,
He's fighting a guy named Adam Bonix. He's
never heard of
undefeated
him,
though.
so it sounds.
He's
so he's 1-0,
undefeated.
2-0.
No, he's
No,
10-0.
I'm not trying to knock. I'm just. That's who
he-
he should be fighting. He should be
Yeah.
fighting guys like that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, but this guy's undefeated though, so it's still dangerous.
Yeah.
Anybody who's undefeated and a professional is dangerous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I'd like to see Aaron Pico go out there and definitely use his grappling.
Yeah, let's see some game plan other than I'm gonna go out and knock your head into the stands.
Well, and here's the thing though, he can still use that boxing, and if that happens, that happens. But don't go out there and only do that.
Right.
If here's the thing, like we're talking about in the Corrales fight, he had opportunity to use his wrestling. Let your strikes and wrestling feed off each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So don't necessarily all he had to do was take Corrales down, and then he could have just ground and pounded him out.
Right, he
it a
knocked
fight.
him down, and then he said he stuck with the punches instead.
Yeah.
But like Cerrone was a great example of someone who uses his fists and his kicks a lot to knock somebody down, but then ties up a fucking choke.
Yeah.
And like almost every sub he's ever got is because he had somebody dazed and confused with his
Yep.
fists, and then he sunk in a choke.
Same thing like
And
Nate
if Henry,
Diaz too.
or I'm sorry, if Aaron would do that,
Yeah.
Nate Diaz, another good example of that. If Aaron would incorporate that strategy,
He'd
that would
be
show a lot of
unbeatable,
growth.
dude.
Yeah.
He'd be unbeatable because he
Absolutely.
has great hands, but he has great wrestling as well. All he has to do is put them together, and he'll be a great mixed martial artist.
So I would expect something special here, even though it's only been a little bit of time with Jackson Wink, because the move shows that he's taking it some seriousness.
Yeah, that's true.
Seriously, excuse me. So
I don't know if it's going to show up as much this fight. I think it could show up more in his next fight or even the fight after that.
definitely, but we should see something. There should
Yeah,
be some
definitely should be a
indication.
little bit of change for sure.
He shouldn't come out looking exactly like he's looking
Yeah,
in his
no.
last fight.
Should definitely come out with his hands up.
Dear God, yes.
All
Well,
right,
it's going to be an exciting card.
yeah,
man.
it's
We're
gonna
looking
be
forward to those results.
on the zone.
The zone, man. Well, what about boxing, man? We actually got a boxing match coming up here shortly after our broadcast on WBUZ that is a little bit more interesting in light of Anthony Joshua losing his titles,
Yeah,
and that's Tyson Fury
he's fighting Tom Schwartz.
fighting undefeated
Tom
and
Schwartz.
unheralded Tom Schwartz.
Well, and here's the
24-0.
thing. Tom Schwartz is also a young guy. He's not as seasoned in the game as Fury is. I think Fury would probably take him to the deep water and then drown him.
Yeah, I think Fury will take him pretty seriously after seeing what happened to Joshua. And I don't think he
Yeah.
was taking him lightly beforehand. I think Fury, especially on this whole comeback trail, is a pretty serious man, despite,
Probably give it.
the way he is on camera. But
Yeah.
he doesn't fuck around when it comes to
Well,
his
here's what
boxing.
people don't understand too: is Tyson Fury is not a big puncher. He doesn't have a lot of knockouts, so
he's
he's
got-
probably just gonna cancel Tom Schwartz out with his defense, and then hit him and pepper him up every round, and then win a fucking 12 rounds to none.
I think Fury's got like 19 knockouts, but most of them are the results of like
Yeah.
TKOs.
Well,
punches and
exactly, yeah.
punches.
Or people throwing in the towel. You know.
Because he'll box the ears off you.
Yeah, he'll box your fucking
light
head
your
off.
fucking face up.
Yeah.
So.
He
But
just
he's
won't
not
knock
like
you
a
down.
Deontay Wilder, who's known
No.
for being a killer with the fists.
Yeah. He's also got that like sweet science defense and like
Yeah, footwork
dude,
like
he's
Dominic fucking
crazy.
Cruz, man.
He's crazy.
Looking at it from an MMA perspective. But I expect him to go out and get the win here. I
Yeah.
think everybody does. That's not some crazy
Tyson
prediction.
Fury's a savage though.
And this, just goes along and it guarantees more news that came out is that, he's signed to fight Wilder not
3
just
more
once.
times.
Yeah, but multiple times. They've signed a deal for multiple fights,
Yeah.
which, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Well, that's the thing that even if they rematch, it doesn't matter who wins. It's still a tied up one, and then the next fight's gonna be like, oh, I got to get that back.
Right, it's a
so you're
given.
gonna fight again, and then a third time, you finish it.
Yeah,
that
the
draw
beauty of that
changed
draw,
things.
Yeah, it allows for actually 3 more fights unless somebody wins
Unless
2 in a
Anthony
row.
Joshua gets back on track, because Anthony Joshua can enter. Oh, well, actually, they already signed the contract, but I think a lot of that had to do with Anthony Joshua losing, and that's the biggest fight left.
Or if Ruiz wins again against Joshua, which I kind of expect him to do, he might insert himself somewhere into this mixture
Yeah,
to
I could
unify
see
these
that.
belts as well.
I heard that IBF is already trying to strip him. It's like, dude, he hasn't even fucking put the belt around his waist yet.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're trying to split all the belts up now. They're trying to strip him. Stupid.
Fucking boxing.
I know. I hate it. Hate it. Because he's rematching Joshua. They're saying that they have like
They have a
mandatory
mandatory
challenger they want him to fight. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Get out of here.
We were talking about that before, like, yeah, he doesn't have to do any of this.
He doesn't
stuff.
do
He's
any of
got-
that
He's
shit.
got mandatory challengers lined
Yeah.
up. For sure.
Yeah. It's just petty as fuck.
Man.
That's really what it is, because they were okay with Anthony Joshua not fighting the mandatory challengers because he's this big face in boxing and he generates so much money that his fights will generate money for them,
Exactly.
So, but Andy Ruiz doesn't have necessarily the biggest name. But if you drop that IBF belt and then maybe someone like Usyk comes up and fights for that belt, or Anthony Joshua doesn't fight Ruiz and he gets that belt back, and that's his trail back to the titles. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the worst problem with fucking prize fighting, dude. It's all about the draws and organizations.
Absolutely. Money ultimately wins out on these things. But
Always. But that's where fighting was
let's
like.
hope for the best, man.
You got to
Let's
think
hope.
about it though. Like, fighting's a gambler's sport almost. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. Like, going back thousands of years, dude. People
Hundreds.
always, yeah,
Well,
whatever.
people always been gambling on fights.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
So the first recorded boxing was 1610. But prior to
that's
that,
thousands of years. No, I'm just kidding. That's
prior to that, I mean, you can't tell me that people weren't betting on some street fights, like, for real. Betting on
Some
shit in the
cavemen
Coliseum.
fucking dropping-
You know there was
yeah.
gambling on the Coliseum fights.
Oh yeah.
So gladiators definitely.
Not
have
saying
fucking
everyone, but
gambling
like
going
kings
on.
and queens, shit like
Fuck
that.
yeah.
I'm sure they
So,
gamble.
yeah, you're right. Thousands of years.
Yeah, dude, get off me. Yeah, no, but I don't know, man. It's strange how boxing works. But
It is what it is.
what's
now.
great about this is something like this with this Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder contract, that now we get those fights no matter what. The best are
Yes.
going to fight the best.
Barring something crazy, we're still going to get these fights. We've got Wilder fighting
Although
Ortiz
Wilder's
next.
got
We've got-
Ortiz, that's a tough fucking fight for him, man. Although, who knows?
Ortiz
there
is
was-
40.
And
He's a
also there
heavyweight.
was like there was like rumors that Wilder had the flu like 2 weeks out of that fight. Remember, he came in at
Yeah, that's true.
209.
He did come in excessively light and had been sick.
Came in at
with
209.
evidence that pointed in that being
Yeah.
legit. So yeah,
Looked
could be
like
something
fuck.
to that.
He was hella skinny, dude. Remember?
yeah.
And then this Brazil fight, he looked fucking back to normal.
Yeah, he did for sure.
And the Fury fight too.
Well, that's good shit, man. I do like the direction that the heavyweights
Yeah.
are looking at.
The best are gonna fight the best.
Let's go fucking
And
Tyson
the best
Fury
is
this weekend,
Andy
obviously.
Ruiz.
Yeah, it is right now. I
You know
still
they're
think
fighting
the best
for
is
the
Tyson.
lineal championship.
No, Tyson's still the lineal champion.
That's what I'm saying. Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
This fights for the lineal title.
It is against Tom Schwartz. I know.
Like, what the lineal titles are a fucking inanimate object.
They're a real thing of boxing, though. You're the man until you beat the man. That's why Tyson Fury is still the man. Like, no one disputes that he's the lineal champion. Everybody's like, yeah. In the
I know,
boxing
yeah.
community.
Every time there's a press
You-
conference, like, we know you're the lineal heavyweight champion, but you're not
It's
gonna
crazy
beat
for
him.
you. That's why you thought it was weird when I was into lineal MMA titles.
I was
That's
like,
because I
what?
come from boxing, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously former boxer, and I'm used to that whole lineal thing.
Yeah, they
so-
fucking actually like represent that shit. I'm like, what
Yeah,
the
it's like a
fuck?
real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not a real thing though.
But it is. Like Joshua or Fury never lost his titles. Who beat
Yeah.
him?
I know, but you know what I'm
I
saying?
wouldn't
Like,
know Anthony Joshua.
it's a thing, but it's not real.
I know it's cool. I do love that.
Not cool. It's not anything. It's an inanimate
Tyson's
object.
the fucking man.
Dude, why don't they give him a belt then?
He does. He has the lineal belt.
No, he fucking. Dude, the lineal belt, dude. What the like, that's just dumb. Then give him a real belt.
awesome.
Just give him a real belt then.
awesome.
If he's lineal champion, just give him a real belt.
Joshua's walking around with his belts.
Joshua doesn't have belts. He lost them
now
all.
Andy does. Andy's not the lineal champion, though. He did not beat the man who beat the man.
What the fuck?
Fighting 101.
So then Khabib's also the lineal champion.
Yes.
All right.
He finally beat Conor. Conor was the lineal champion. Conor,
Actually, no, because Tony Ferguson was champion before Khabib and before Khabib.
we didn't beat Conor. Not at that weight.
Oh yeah, Conor was the lineal
No one's beat
champion.
Conor at featherweight. He's technically still holding the lineal featherweight title. He needs to fight
confusing.
Max again to settle that shit at 145, but that's unlikely to happen.
Dude, he'd be on death's doorstep if he went to 45 again.
But those titles don't go to Khabib because he didn't fight him at that weight class.
Well, no, I'm not saying those titles go to Khabib. I'm just saying
the
55.
fictitious lineal titles.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. These imaginary belts you're fucking carrying around.
They're not belts, they're titles.
It's like, what's up, dude? Check my belts out.
They're not belts,
Oh,
they're titles, sir. They're legit as fuck.
In
All right.
boxing, with your imaginary belts, dude, get the fuck out of here.
I don't like boxing. It'd make more sense if MMA did it because there's only really the UFC belts that are taken very seriously. Like, why wouldn't, boxing has like 37 fucking belts. Why do you need to add the lineal shit in there too? But
Yeah,
whatever.
it's dumb.
It is. It's awesome. And on
Fake
that
ass
note,
belts.
I think we're going to wrap our show
Oh, you mean our?
on the
Wait,
note that
is
lineal
this a
titles
show?
are awesome.
Wait, is this a real show though?
It is.
Or is it kind of a show?
We're the lineal champion of smoking weed and talking mixed martial arts and boxing.
Sounds great.
We're speaking of boxing. You can check out our boxing column at slugfestmagazine.com.
Yup, check it out.
Yup.
Check it out.
You can see our article in Slugfest Magazine, the actual magazine you can get on Amazon, one with Roy Jones on the cover. We've got a 2-page article inside that one, too.
Yup.
You can check out our show on WBUZ 95, Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Las Vegas time, Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Head over to SWATandMay.com. Hit that gear button. Buy yourself a shirt and jacket. Get ready for the winter because winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
No,
Oh my
winter's
God.
not coming anymore because that fucking show's over.
The show went out with a terrible, terrible whimper. But, anyways, the show info's Orange Radio app and radio.net.
iTunes, YouTube.
Info, like Paul told you, is on the website, SWATMMA.com. Podcast everywhere you can find a podcast.
Hit the like button. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Thanks, everybody.
Deuces.
Later.